It's easy to look at Tekken and be like, yep, I love it. But since I love it so much, I want it to be as good as it can be. And unfortunately, I think it can do better. It's cute and all that you can do some limited warm-up when waiting for your online matches, but it would really be nice if it was like Street Fighter V and other games where you can continue to search for matches whilst in practice mode and other modes. When you're playing in a scarce skill bracket, in off-peak times, or maybe a smaller region, you can spend entire sessions of gameplay sitting in the barren warm-up map, not being able to get some decent practice in, and just overall wasting your time. I was going to pitch the idea of searching for player matches and ranked battles simultaneously, which definitely should be a thing, but I would go one step further and allow you to be matched up with ranked opponents behind the scenes during player matches. But if that's too much of a stretch, being able to practice setups and defensive maneuvers in the lab would be enough of a welcome addition, as would be enjoying some other offline modes whilst in queue. Speaking of offline content, whether competitive players like it or not, casual players are the oil veins game companies are trying to find and secure. With the sample size of my friend group, the only fighting games purchased by a majority of my mates is Mortal Kombat 9 and 10. Some have also played stuff like Deadly Alliance, but still, it's Mortal Kombat. The reason these games have such an allure to casual audiences is 1, fatalities, which is whatever, but 2, they have actual content. They have towers which change up daily and weekly, they have the crypt which helps people feel like they're working towards something, they have these fun mission modes and other treats, things that a lot of people really love. Tekken has bowling. I cannot believe the absolute abysmal content of fighting games as a whole have. Mortal Kombat should be the absolute bare minimum. I know people like to say, as long as I have local 1v1 versus, then that's all I need. But you do realise you can also have everything else with it. I agree. For a game like Tekken, the actual 1v1 gameplay needs to be the core focus and the most polished aspect of the game. But that doesn't mean you can't have other bells and whistles. You're not going to have many people to play with eventually when old players stop playing and new players don't see any reason to get into it. Now, another borrowed idea from Mortal Kombat are the clans, gangs, teams, guilds, or whatever you want to call them, which would be a welcome addition for a lot of people. Having a sense of camaraderie could help boost and incentivize people more to pursue certain activities. Then you could incorporate faction rankings and team battles so multiple people can play in a single match. I believe having that layer of unity would help give people an edge of trying certain modes like ranked battle that extra push if they thought it may help their faction. I would love to sit here and go through rollback netcode, and if people still don't understand it after viewing the resources I'll link, then I'll happily go through it, but it would be really nice to actually play against the other half of online players. Now, alongside netcode, cross-compatibility would go a long way in extending the lifespan of particular communities. Some people have friends that can only play on certain platforms, and being actually able to play with them would be a bonus. Now, I've heard small pockets of people complain that you would be then versing people with Wi-Fi, which I rebut with, have you played online before? But anyway, that's simply solved by having a Wi-Fi indicator when searching. Being able to dodge these players, or better yet, restrict searching to LAN only, would be a godsend. Since I'm already bashing the online system in place, let's put an online practice mode in for the lads. I know you can work around with Steam Play or whatever it's called, but that's not the point. Being able to explain to your friends why they are getting blown up by particular setups and help them overcome them in real time would be real nice of Namco to implement. Furthermore, the lobby system needs a complete rework. Why does it feel like I'm fighting the UI just to invite a couple of mates into the party? And the whole system is so clunky. If you're the host, you should be able to move people ahead or behind others in queue, and have things like, if everyone agrees to, extend sets on the fly. Then having the option to allow for multiple 1v1s to go at the same time would be a great addition for more action-orientated lobbies. Then you could go the complete other way and have hundreds or even thousands of observer slots open for people who cannot be in queue to play but want to watch in real time, and even get the replays to study later. Imagine being able to join a lobby with a whole bunch of other fans to watch top players do a showcase, then receive the replays with all the inputs and tech embedded within them. This is where I wanted to lead into community implementation. Where are the links, the embedded streams, the upcoming tournaments and hype community figures? Could you imagine being able to watch top players in game, or at least view their replay? A link to their streams would at least be a step in the right direction. I honestly think if Bandai Namco could save the replays of tournament matches on their consoles, or better yet some kind of custom client, then export those replays to a global in-game channel, that would blow people's minds. Having your favorite commentator break down tournament matches on their stream with the in-game replay system and then talk about their inputs and decisions would be insane. Sitting at home after a tournament and going through all these hype matches in-game would help players understand why certain things happen, plus I bet it would help people make some nice montages. I feel like fighting games are in the stone age compared to other genres with this kind of stuff. And if you build games with these systems in mind, it's totally conceivable. Now, sample combos are a great step for implementing basic ideas of what the player should be doing, but there should actually be a tutorial. The developers love to say no one ever uses the tutorial, and I'm going to be frank with you. That's because the tutorials aren't that flash. You only have to look at my beginner guide to see that people want to learn, and they shouldn't have to seek a third-party source to do so. There are a lot of ways to go about teaching players, and I don't have all the answers, especially since I've noticed a lot of other fighting game tutorials can kind of just be a real knowledge dump. I've tried a few anime fighters, completed their tutorial, and been more confused than when I started. Games that are based around solo campaigns and the like teach the player through introducing different mechanics in level design, and then having players get things like a new weapon every once in a while, or face a new enemy with a different win condition, all helping the player explore what they can do. Now, it is a bit harder to do that for a fighting game, but I do think that teaching the player how to play the game should be the primary principle for the campaigns. Then have your tutorial break down advanced mechanics and character-specific mastery. Then to expand upon this, explain a few different key moves, explain their purpose, show a clip of them being used as well, and then send the player on their way. Now, this is a controversial and way out there opinion, which may be better suited for a different fighting game, perhaps a new IP, but I would love to see what a free-to-play fighting game could do for encouraging new players to try. Things like Dota, League of Legends, and somewhat recently Counter-Strike, and a plethora of other massively popular multiplayer games are free to play and make insane profits off of monetizing cosmetics and compendiums. Now, a small tangent, if the current systems are to remain, I would love to see DLC characters be available to lab. I mean, I buy everyone, even if I think Marduk is the dumbest character ever, but not everyone is lucky enough to be able to spare the extra dollars, and I think it would be a small yet extremely beneficial gesture. These are just some thoughts I've had with my time away from the game, and it may seem like I'm piling on the game, but it is far and away the best game I've played in a long time, and I really want the next Tekken game to be even better. I think all fighting games can do better, and I think the player base deserves the best, because the genre really is the best.